Hello, class. Welcome to week 6. I just finished reading all of your critiques. Good job. I wanted to talk a little bit about critiques and say that this was a great first step toward critiques, and I want to encourage you to do a little bit more in the future. So here are some future guidelines for critiques. You won't be critiquing again for another couple of weeks, but something to think about and process now. Most of you merely responded to the questions of your classmates. So you read the memoir and then you answered their questions. This helped to answer the questions of your classmates who had questions on their writing, but I'm afraid that some of the questions or the answers seemed a little vague in reply. So to prevent that, we're going to now do another level of critiques. I still want you to answer the questions, but however, for the next questions, I want you to go a little bit deeper. So if a writer asks you, if if something worked, for example, and then if it did work, instead of just saying yes it worked, smiley face or whatever, you would explain to the writer why it worked. So using craft-based reasons to explain why that creative storytelling element did in fact work. If your answer is no, that it didn't work, I don't want you to just be like, nope, this was dumb or whatever. I know you didn't say that, but I don't want you to just say no, that it didn't work. I want you to give a reason why it didn't work, and then I want you to suggest an improvement. So it's not enough to say yes or no that something worked or didn't work. I now want you to explain why it worked or didn't work, and if it didn't, I want you to suggest an improvement on how you could fix the thing that didn't work. Additionally, I want to encourage you again to please refrain from any personal comments regarding choices made within the writing. If you're talking about the craft and how it was told, by all means, talk about how great it was, or say something like, I personally don't like to use present tense verbs, but they worked for this piece, or whatever. That's fine. But when it comes to the content, when it comes to a choice that somebody made, it's much more difficult to do that without offending somebody. So I don't want you to say, I can't believe you made that choice, or if I knew you then I would have advised you differently, or whatever, because it's really not up to you. And like I said, even though you might mean well, it still can come off as offensive. So please refrain from any personal comments regarding the choices in the writing. Additionally, your critiques, most people just answered the questions. So for your critiques, I would really like you to include 300 to 500 words regarding your overall impression from the draft. So for example, after I would read somebody's draft, I would write these 300 to 500 words. If you're typing it up in Microsoft Word, as most of you are, then this would be about half a page. And you would say, hey, I really liked your writing. I really empathized with, the way you switched perspectives from first to third person and back to first, or whatever. So I want you to explain what the writer did well, and then I want you to talk about things that you think could be fixed. And again, I want you to suggest improvements on how they can be fixed, not merely to just say that they should be fixed. And then at the very end of that, I want you to say again, like, just something nice about the draft. And this isn't fluff, this isn't lying, this is just a nice way of critiquing. And then after you do that 300 to 500 word response, then you can move into the questions. Also make sure that your answers to the questions are thoughtful answers. They're not just yes, no. Aside from that, I will be posting a document today with this video as an example of how to critique, just so that you can see exactly what all is expected and you can see what that looks like. All right, all, have a good week.